Let's turn now to some news here in France, where the Cannes Film Festival is in full swing. And while the bulbs have been popping for the celebrities on the red carpet, there's also been a major controversy brewing on the sidelines. Now, it began when some 600 film professionals signed a petition against the billionaire businessman Vincent Bolloré, who heads up France's largest film production outfit called Canal+. It's now responded to that, and to bring us up to speed, Olivia Salazar-Winspear from our culture desk is with me. So, Olivia, just tell us then what's been happening.
Well, Nadia, following that open letter you mentioned, which artists warned against the growing reach of the far right in the world of cinema, because Bolloré is linked to far-right circles here in France, his associate, CEO of Canal+, Maxime Saada, has said that he saw this position as an injustice towards the Canal teams, and as a result, I will no longer work with, nor do I want Canal to work with, the people who signed this petition. So those people include actress and director Juliette Binoche, Iranian filmmaker Sepideh Farseh, veteran photographer and filmmaker Raymond Depardon, and young filmmaker Arthur Harari, seen there with his prize as co-writer of the recent Palme d'Or winner Anatomy of the Fall. He's also presenting a film in competition at Cannes this year. You could call these people the artistic elite. They're certainly very successful in their fields. Excluding them from Canal+ productions in the future would be very significant for the French film industry. Canal+ pours 170 million euros in to film productions every year. That means they produce pretty much half of all French features. And this sort of blacklist could recall the McCarthyism in Hollywood, which we saw in the 1940s and 50s, where, you know, the studio system blocked anyone who was suspected of having an un-American position. The definition was very broad, and they derailed or froze or even completely terminated their careers. Now, this morning, the president of the CNC, that's France's public funding body for cinema, called for calm. He had a diplomatic tone, urged people from the industry to come together, saying that maybe Maxime Saada had a bit of an impulsive response, and it was a shame that he's contributing to these divisions in the sector. So Gaëtan Bruel, the president of the CNC, added that while Canal+ has always supported all filmmakers, the right to express criticism is a fundamental part of freedom of speech, although he himself did not go so far as to criticise Bolloré and his politics.
OK, well, let's backtrack a little bit, Olivia, to what actually prompted the war of words in the first place. What are the particular fears that these 600 people in the film industry were expressing in their petition?
Well, one of the developments was that prompted the letter in the first place was the fact that Canal+ has taken a stake in UGC. Now, that's a massive chain of cinemas. They have more than 500 screens across France. Canal+ is looking to expand that position with UGC to full ownership in 2028, which would mean that Bolloré is controlling the entire chain of production in film, which is like financing, distribution, and then release, presumably the popcorn sales in those theatres too. There's the question of politics here, of course, because as a billionaire businessman, Bolloré is someone who says that he's right-wing, but if you look at some of the media outlets that he owns, so you've got the TV channel CNews, the radio station Europe 1, these are spaces that are not shy about platforming far-right views and figures here in France. He's also been linked to far-right politicians in more indirect ways as well. So the concerns that these views would trickle in to the film industry, and as the writers of that open letter put it, to standardise films, but also involve a fascist takeover of the collective imagination. And if that does come to pass, of course, the film landscape would look very different. Studio Canal has produced very diverse films in the past, everything from James Cameron's Terminator 2 in 1991, La Haine in 1995. They completed funding on David Lynch's Mulholland Drive. They also made the family film Paddington more recently.
And look, so as you've alluded to there, Olivia, Vincent Bolloré is somebody who prompts strong reactions in French society. How would you say then that this all plays out in the arts and culture space particularly?
Well, Vincent Bolloré is someone who's been called the French Rupert Murdoch. He's got a huge appetite for acquisitions in the media and beyond, and his critics believe that he's using these outlets to push a far-right reactionary agenda. So Hachette, which he controls, recently acquired the publishing house Grasset. That involved the sacking of its long-serving director, and then that prompted more than 100 writers to leave the imprint, saying that they don't want to be part of this ideological war which seeks to impose authoritarianism everywhere in the culture and the media sectors. Studio Canal as well has also been expanding aggressively in recent years. They've launched a stage division which would produce live theatre based on the intellectual property that they already own. So, for example, a Broadway show of Paddington. So the scale of this controversy really underlines the importance of soft power and who is steering that power in France. It is worth pointing out as well, though, that some anonymous industry people who didn't sign that open letter were interviewed in Cannes. They say they're certainly worried, but for the moment they believe Canal Plus has not yet imposed any ideological, specific intellectual directives in their production and financing. The group's actually a partner of the Queer Palm, which gives a prize to films with LGBTQ plus themes, and Canal Plus have maintained that partnership this year, saying that the studio's in favour of bold, pluralistic cinema. But the audience at Cannes, it's interesting to know, is a little bit more suspicious. Every time the Canal Plus logo comes up in many films at Cannes, in the opening credits, it has been booed, including during the opening film, which is called The Electric Kiss. You can see the red carpet there at Cannes. So I think this controversy is certainly far from over.